Hello there, my lovely jewelry makers. I'm Christina at CSLdesigns, and in today's video it's time to open up another dollar bead box and bag. So let's just jump straight into it. Let's get through the tape here. I might just go this way. And I'm curious what's going to be in this month's. Especially I wonder if there's going to be anything more Christmas related as we're getting closer to Christmas. Who knows? Right, so we have the bag first. I'm going to just look at that to begin with. Let's see what we have. Get it all out, and also obviously the paper. You can actually see what's in there. Now I'm just going to organize them like usual into the size. And this is then what we have. So I will be honest, first impressions, this does actually look quite Christmassy to me. So let's just start from the top. So I'm starting with the 3mm strands. That's the ones I have here as well. So first we have dark cyan. So I'm guessing that's the one we already have ready. Now I do really love that colour. So we had these in previous boxes but in other sizes. I think last month was possibly, or a few months ago, a 4mm one. Oh, they've had them in matte, where these aren't matte by the looks of it. And it's not described as matte either. Some these might just be the non-matte ones actually. 3mm, I really love that colour. Very nice. Nice and intense. Then we have pearlized white. So it's got to be this one here. So it's faceted. Well, they're faceted. And then you have that kind of pearlized coating, which is very interesting, very different. Because normally the pearlized finish it's not matte, but it's also not bright and shiny. It's got that pearl finish, but then because it's faceted, it kind of gives those pops of flashes, a little bit of sparkle to it. It's quite interesting. Then we have metallic Mardi Gras green. It's got to be this one. That is nice. I love my metallic coatings. Very sparkly. That's for sure. And you got that definitely green base color to it. Very lovely. And finally, vintage rose gold luster. So it's got to be this one. So you have that vintage rose, which I will say is pretty fitting description, because you do have a rosy tint to it, but it's not like a typical rose color. So vintage rose is quite a nice description. And again, that luster adds a lovely sparkle and faceting as well, obviously. So those are the 3mm ones. Then moving on to the 4mm strands. We have, first of all, matte royal purple. So I'm guessing that's this one. Anything purple obviously sparks my interest. And this is matte, so that's unusual. It's basically like a metallic coating, but then matte, which is quite nice and different. So you still get sparkles, but it's more of a muted sparkle because it's faceted, but it's a matte finish. You get quite a few as well. And matte medium copper. That's got to be this one. Again, you do get sparkle on there because it's faceted and it's a metallic coating. But because it's matte, it's more muted, which is very interesting, that's for sure. I'm also thinking these two go really nice together. Because this isn't a pure copper, bright copper or something. Also says they're medium copper, but also because it's matte, it's got a different kind of feel to it. And they actually look really nice together, I think. And then next we have emerald green. That's got to be this. And obviously here come the very Christmassy colours. Nice, bright, colourful green. Very sparkly. And then of course we just got to bring in the matte cyan. So these are matte, but there's nothing to say that you can't mix a non-matte and a matte. In my opinion, I think if anything it makes it just more interesting. So again, red, very Christmassy, the green and red together, obviously. And then you can kind of bring in any of the other ones and it will still be very Christmassy if you want it to be. So very nice and bright colours. Always very nice and bright in these strands. So moving on, just going to put these back in the bag just to make sure I don't lose anything. Keep it all organized, especially We have little thieves around the flat. They like to steal little things like this. Not referring to anyone in particular. Possibly cats. Right, and then let's get to the box. So bring it straight back in. You have the paperwork. So your little introduction does talk about winter on its way in, also mentions regarding the holiday season. So I'm guessing this box might be a little bit inspired by that. Get this out and kind of just put the box that way so we have some space. And let's see what's in here. Oh, something just popped out there. Right, get rid of that paper so we can get rid of the noise. Now again, I'm going to separate out all the additional items here in the bags, like I normally like to do. Go through them after, and I'm going to start with the strands, because that is also how it's organized on the paper. So, just gonna get all these ready, and then I'm gonna get the paper back in, because on the back here you have basically the content of the box. Describes what's in here, which is nice and handy. So let's have a little bit of a closer look. Right, so starting from the top, we have 6mm checker glass 2-hole square beads. So either beige opal or matte beige opal. 25 pieces, so it's got to be these ones here, little square ones. So I look to have the beige opal, so not the matte ones, because they're nice and shiny. So let's have a little look here. So flat squares, and then it says 2 holes, so that means obviously they're just strung on the 1 hole, but you do have another hole there. You can see the 2 holes, which could definitely make for interesting design possibilities. That's the first strand. Next we then have 9x14mm checker glass leaves. So either green opal with travertine or with silver wash, sorry. So I'm thinking that's these, because they kind of have a bit of a leaf shape. Yep, they are. That's cute. So they're strung on like this, which in itself is kind of interesting. But then the little leaves there, so you have the hole at the very base of the leaf. And these ones are green with silver wash, by the looks of it. So that silver wash just really emphasizes that leaf design. And let's see the other side. It's on both sides, yeah. They're definitely cute. You get quite a few as well on the strand, quite sizable I will say. 5mm, which is a bit more of an unusual size. We have check fire polish, so white opal with antique gold finish. So I'm wondering whether white opal with antique gold finish. Now I don't think it's these. It's just because it says white opal. I wonder whether it could be these. Because of that antique gold finish, it definitely would fit that description. So let's have a look. That's definitely unusual. You get a very distinct kind of pattern on it almost. But still got some sparkle to that. Now, if I'm wrong about which one that is, obviously I'll have to come back to it, but we'll move on for now. Then we have 4x6mm checker glass drop, so gold acid wash. So I'm thinking that's got to be these here. That's the only kind of gold thing that's in there. So little drops, you can kind of see them. So that here on the end, that is 1 bead, and then you have the hole at the point there, so the kind of drop out comes out and away. And very bright gold, that's for sure. It's a bit unusual though, because it's not kind of the same all over. It's a bit matte in places almost, so it's a bit different. Gold acid wash, so It's not just a pure gold coating. Next we then have 8mm check glass melon, so pink with silver speckles. So it's got to be these ones because they're pink. Now let's see up close because it says with silver speckles. Kind of see that there, yeah, it's quite fine actually. Gotta get a little bit closer to see that. And you can then also see the shape there of the beads. So that melon shape. A nice delicate pink, and then that kind of speckled silver wash. Just adds a bit something different to it. Then we have, moving down a bit, where do we get to? 4mm resin miracle bead, chartreuse with gold luster. So I'm guessing that's these because of the colour description. Ugh, get away from each other. And it says 50 pieces, so that's a decent amount. There's definitely that chartreuse. And then has that kind of gold luster, kind of just like a hint of it. That's different. Moving on. We then have 3mm, so it's got to be small ones, it's got to be these ones here then. Check glass pearls, and that's matte satin white. So there's 2 of them, but different sizes by the looks of it. And these are the small ones, so the 3mm ones. And you get that, it's almost like a pearl finish, a bit. Is that matte satin? 3mm is always a nice size. And then just keep them handy, because then next we have the 6mm ones. You can see that. And the 3mm ones you get 40, and 6mm you get 20. So that kind of fits pretty well with the sizes. And they look like that. So obviously these two go perfectly together in projects. I'm actually thinking, then these would also go really well with lots of other things. So this works with them, but also this works with them. Basically anything would work with them really. Because obviously it's kind of white that works with anything. So nice ones there, because they also go together, so you can use them in the same project, but they're the same bead, but just different sizes. That's always a plus, I think. The last one we have is, there we go, 1x2mm, so tiny beads, Chinese crystal rondelles, and silver. So this is quite a few, 120 on the strand. And even though they're so tiny, they sparkle like mad because they're faceted, and it's also metallic coating, so that is quite Christmassy as well. It doesn't have to be, obviously silver can be used for anything, but very sparkly. Personally my favourite, the silver, and can go with anything, literally match anything else. So that's the final strand. Next, let's then move on to the additional items. Just going to get these out of the way. Then move down the list. So again, starting from the top. First ones are 7x16mm check glass 2-hole crescents. So copper vitriol, 6 pieces. Now, I think that's these ones here. Because 2-hole crescents definitely describes these. Now, I did just glance at these because when it's stuff like this, kind of rainbow colours like this, I can't really not notice it. But I'm pretty sure in a previous box we had these, but in a different colour. I think it was, just getting a few out here, like just kind of a plain, almost hematite finish. But these ones are very interesting. So we have the copper vitriol. So you got copper on one side, the back basically what I would say, kind of a copper coating, and then you have almost like a rainbow on the other side coming through. That is very nice. Again, here you then have copper on the back on one side, and then on this side you have that rainbow. That is interesting. Very interesting. Ooh, very purpley pink there. Nice. I love that it's combined with copper. Usually when it's stuff like this it would be silver, but with the copper back that's quite different. Then you have some blue. That's very nice. Very interesting. Very different. And the shape as well is definitely something different. Lends itself to other possibilities design-wise than obviously the shape itself, but then the fact it's got 2 holes as well. And what was it? You got 6 of them. Interesting. Next we have 18mm checker glass ammonites. Opaque white with gold wash, 2 pieces. I think it's got to be these. So ammonite is the shape here. It refers to a natural, guess you call it stone when it becomes like this. Definitely, what was it? 18mm, quite sizable. So I wonder, yeah, there you go. There's the hole coming through from one side to the other. Quite small hole, considering the large bead, but it's double-sided, so that's always a plus in my opinion. Instead of there's a back and a front, so this would only be on one side, you would have to do something where it doesn't really flip around, whereas here, that's not affected by that at all. So I like the double-sided, and that gold wash just emphasizes that shape. Very nice. Then we have 5mm daisy spacers, antique copper. So that's some findings. And it looks to be mainly, well, at least some of it is copper findings here. So it's got to be these little kind of spacers you could put between beads, and it just adds a little bit of an effect. Because obviously, as you look at them from here, from the flat side, it's almost like a little flower, those balls put together. But if you then put it between something, you would see just some of the balls peeking through there. So a little finding touch here. Copper instead of just silver or something. And obviously copper and silver goes well together anyway. So next we have 6x12mm Chinese drops. So turquoise, rainbow, iris. That sounds a bit of an interesting colour. I think it's got to be these. That's that teardrop shape. Was it teardrop? Oh, just a drop. Chinese drop. Interesting sounding colour. A turquoise, I'm guessing like a turquoise base, and then with rainbow iris kind of finish to it. I would definitely say that's a good description. So it's not fully rainbow like a lot of other times. It's got that turquoise base, but you can just get a touch of that rainbow effect without completely covering up the turquoise base, but adds a lot of sparkle. So yeah, actually you can see they're not teardrop shaped, so it was just, I made that up. It is a drop because it's kind of pointed on both ends, whereas a teardrop would be rounded on the bottom. But then you have the hole at the one point there at the top. That's an interesting shape. Instead of being just plain teardrop, it's more of a pointed drop. Get them back in. I do like that colour, that's for sure, a little bit unusual. So you got 4 of them. Yep. Next we have, where are we? 17x18mm magnesite coin, turquoise, 2 pieces, so quite large. There should be these here. So magnesite, it feels a little bit chunky as well. That is actually quite a large hole. That's nice. And a nice coin. Now what I do like as well, what you can do with things like this is, if you were to use wire work for instance, you can kind of use it as a background and then put some design or writing with the wire work on top of the sides. See, I've done that with the designs in the past with beads of this kind, where they're kind of flat in different shapes, or puffy, whatever you want to call them. But then you kind of have the sides, because you have this as a background, that'll be the background colour. So both silver and copper would work with this. Obviously gold would as well if you like gold. So you get 2 of them. Then next we have 12mm Chinese glass laser etched barrels, matte peacock, 1 piece. So a barrel. It must be this one. It's one of them. A barrel shape. So they have had a few of these in the past few boxes where those laser etched designs, different beads, different sizes and shapes of beads, and also different designs of the laser etching. That's interesting. You get these, you have like a rainbow coating, and then you have a different design running all the way along that's been that laser etched into it. And this is a very big hole, wow. But it's also quite a large bead, so that's, I think from previous ones, this seems to have more of the rainbow coating and a bit less of the patterning, which is then kind of white, whereas other ones it's been kind of opposite. It's been more of the white base and then a bit less of the coating, which is a nice mix. Then next we have, let's see if we can find, I think it's, yes, it was that one, 6mm Swarovski crystal cube. Crystal cow, 2 pieces. So it's Swarovski. So these two here, so cubes, interesting. I do like cubes. It's not really something I particularly work with. I don't really know why, because I do like them. But wow, they are flashy. So we have, see a hole here on one side, and then yeah, you can kind of tell that's Swarovski. Very sparkly, very flashy. It's kind of like, it's a clear cube, but then in certain places, in some areas, it's got a very metallic, almost mirror finish coating there, silver, and there as well, which then reflects through the other sides that are clear and gives a really interesting effect there inside of the bead. That's very unusual. Nice. But you can't really go wrong with Swarovski, can you? So 2 of them. It would definitely be something where you'd want to be able to see all that sparkle. Next we have 5mm checker glass hexagon full coat copper. 8 pieces. Hexagons. There must be these then, because copper. So they are checker glass, but it almost looks like they are metallic spacer beads, which you could use them as, like you would use them, but they are checker glass beads. So the hexagons, let me just get a couple out, because they have sides all the way around instead of being just a round kind of donut shape. But the hole in the middle there is quite large. And then where you add these, you just kind of get that flash of copper, so flash of metallic finish. So what was, how many did you get? 8 pieces. Then we have, it was this one, yeah. Chinese glass laser etched round. So again, that laser etching. Peacock, 2 pieces. It's gotta be these. Now see, that's again that same kind of thing, but then different shape and size bead. It almost makes me think of a circus. I don't know why, but it does. Looks like round balls, and you have the colourful patterning on there. Very nice. They feel quite nice as well. Have a nice feel to them. Holes are pretty decent. Not extremely large, but not small either. It's quite a nice medium. You get some nice, even some quite thick wire through there if you want it to. I do love my rainbow coatings like this. It's one of my favourite things. And it's interesting how they edge those different patterns into them. Definitely unusual. And then next we got to getting towards the bottom here already. 5x7mm Chinese star cut crystal, full cut silver. 6 pieces. So it's gotta be, I think these. Yeah, I think so. So again, some sparkle here. So this is where it's almost like it's a bicone shape, but with just 2 sides cut off. Because you have then the hole on those sides that have been cut off. So it's a very unusual shape. And then that silver coating, very sparkly. Because they are kind of faceted as well, almost like a bicone, it adds that extra sparkle. Then we have a pewter bail, 7x6mm, 2 pieces. So little bails that you can add to basically anything you'd want. Now it looks like it's kind of like a little barrel with quite a large hole there, and then you have a little loop on one side that you can then attach something to. So you could make something and attach to that loop there to be a drop, and then put some cord or something through there, quite thick or quite large hole, so some leather cord or some satin cord or something, and have that be kind of your cord around your neckline. And then this is then the bail to carry whatever it is that you've made. But the bail itself also has some design. Let me just kind of have a look at that. You can see there, which is always nice. It's not just really plain. And then lastly, the last bag is 9mm pewter flower, silver plated, 4 pieces. So this is some metallic stuff again. Let's just get a couple out. Oh, you can definitely feel that. Actually, they feel, even though they're not super large, they actually have a bit of weight to them. So let's see, we have a hole going through this side here between 2 petals, and then out in the middle of the opposite petal. Well, they're pretty cute. Quite a nice design actually. Quite detailed. Have a look at that. And like I said, they're actually quite weighty, even though they aren't huge or anything. But that's obviously because they're fully pewter then, all the way through, I'm guessing. That's always a nice feature to add, because how the hole is as well, the flower design is actually what would kind of be outward, that you could see that. So that was everything. So that was everything that was in the box and the bag here. A nice mix of different things. I will say that some of it could definitely be Christmas themed, but at the same time I don't think it's overwhelming, which I actually think is nice. So, because not everything has to be about Christmas, does it? So you could use some of it for Christmas themed, especially obviously some of these colours here, but you don't have to, because it could easily also be used for something else. So I do think that's nice. Maybe as opposed to getting loads of beads and findings that maybe are actually directly Christmas related, like maybe Christmas tree shapes or other things like that, where it is basically Christmas and nothing else. So I definitely think that's nice with this box here in the bag, because sometimes it could get a little bit much with everything being about Christmas. But otherwise, it's time for me to go away and see if I can use some of these materials here and make a couple of pieces. And then when I have done, I'll get right back to you. So then I just want to show you what I ended up making. So I have the 4 3mm strands from the bag. I have them here. One of them, I used literally all the beads, so there's no more left. As you can see, I just have the actual strand itself. And then I have the blue one here. I only have a few left. And these ones, I used about half of the strand, I would say. So these are the beads I ended up using. And I ended up making 2 things with them. And the 2 bracelets. The first one was a wire macrame bracelet. It looks like this. So this was a bit of an idea I've had for a while that I kind of wanted to try out, and I actually quite like how it's ended up looking. It's got quite an elegant look to it, but it's really simple actually. But then I mixed the blue and those white beads, where I literally used all those white ones because I used them in the other bracelet as well. But I really quite like how this has ended up, so I'm definitely going to be making more of these. And I have the clasp there on the end. Nice and delicate as well, I think. Then the other bracelet was a wire crochet bracelet. This is also again an idea I've had for a while that I wanted to try out, and I thought it was perfect with these beads here, because what I actually ended up thinking was, when I had these strands together, obviously including the white one, I wouldn't normally choose these colours to go together, but there was just something about it that I kind of thought worked quite well. So I thought, why not use them all in, I had an idea to kind of make a multi-strand wire crochet bracelet, but I wanted to add beads as well, and maybe different colour beads and that. So I thought, why not just add all of the colours, because they actually do work together, I think. And it looks like this. So you kind of have the movement and the interest of the multi-strands of the wire crochet, but they are then connected here on the ends and with a clasp as well. So I finished them off like this. but I do quite like how this bracelet has ended up as well. So these are the two bracelets that I made. I'm quite pleased with how they turned out myself, especially when you've had an idea for a while, you've been wanting to try it, and then when you try it, it turns out how you more or less imagined it. So I'm pretty pleased with that. I quite like how the wire macrame one actually is pretty nice and delicate. So obviously you can make it chunkier if, say, maybe use a thicker wire and some larger beads. Probably going to try that as well. But I do like how it looks with the effect that it has. And then for the other one, I quite like, it's still in a way delicate, but at the same time it has more of an impact. Obviously it has the multiple strands, and you can obviously go crazy with the beads if you want to. And that's one thing I really like with these boxes as well, and the bag, is because I literally just used the 4 strands of the 3mm in the bag, so I kind of ended up with colours that I probably wouldn't have put together otherwise. But I really like how it's ended up. So this is what they look like. And I hope you liked them too. I really hope you enjoyed the whole video, and if you did, you can check out more like this on my channel and lots of tutorials as well. But thank you so much for watching this one, and I'll see you in the next one.